we ready? All right. Welcome to the annual meeting, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It's so nice to see faces that I haven't seen in so long. And I wish we were all together having big hugs and celebrating together, but we're not. So I am grateful for the technology that allows us to do this, even if it is a few months later. So thanks again for being here. This is our first annual meeting held virtually. There's a lot of people involved and a lot of moving parts. So we humbly ask for your patience and grace during our meeting today. We're going to do the best we can to make it run smoothly and be like a great annual meeting. So I'm going to call us to order first. The annual membership meeting for Unity of Louisville is now come to order, and Reverend Val will lead us in prayer.
So we just center in our heart space, connect with each other as a community. We form that sacred love, knowing that truth flows in all that we do. We come together today to continue the work that has come before us. To transform our lives and the world through love. Knowing that we do this in a variety of ways, in a variety of ministries, and it takes many, many sacred souls to move us forward boldly as we step in to that which is ours to continue and to move forward with today and every day. We do everything with ease and grace, guided by the infinite. We are abundant, and we see that abundance flowing in and through every soul, in and through this ministry, out into the world. And today we are gathered here to select new leadership, new vision, new bylaws, knowing that the right and perfect order is already done, and all leaders are gathered here today. We are all ministers in our own right, and we lead together as a team through all the challenges and growth and opportunities of abundance and prosperity. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Val. Amen. So now Dave Freilich, one of our members at large, will review the meeting guidelines.
Oh, okay.
Are they going to come up on the screen?
No, they're in the script. Do you have it? Can you pull it up? I can send it to you.
I've got them right here. Do you want me to do it?
Sure. Go ahead.
Dave, do you mind?
No. I mean, I've got them on email, but I thought they'd be in the PowerPoint.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
We didn't have a pre-meeting before the meeting. There was a lot of pre-emails, but not a pre-meeting before the meeting. So
Pick up number 1, right?
exactly. Do you want me to do it, Dave, or do you want to pull it up?
Go ahead and do it. It'll take me a minute to get to it. If you've got it in front of you, do it.
I do. The general membership meeting, Unity of Louisville annual meeting, will be conducted under the same guidelines of the community meetings. It is believed that as we truly hear each other and value our diversity and our common goals, we will grow in strength and succeed in every endeavor. This is a membership meeting. There will be many items of business to be voted on by the congregation. As indicated by our bylaws, Robert's Rules of Order will be followed. We will have a parliamentarian present. Maintaining focus on the issues at hand will be appreciated. Each person who wishes to speak usually must use the microphone, but today we're all going to stay on mute. And then if you want to ask a question or speak, you can either raise your hand or put a question in the chat box, and we'll go through those at the end. When we do get to the question and answer section, or when other people are speaking, the person who is speaking has the floor. He or she may ask questions of any individual present. Respondents must use the microphone or just talk, be on mute, unmute. The person who has the floor may address the meeting in the form of a personal sharing, a dialogue, or debate. No one may talk about an individual who is not present. No one may present third-party information or opinion. No speaker may represent another individual or group. It is inappropriate to use information from confidential sources or to indicate that such information exists. There is no time limit imposed on anyone who has the floor. However, in the spirit of fairness to all who wish to speak, everyone is requested to respect the right of others to share. At any time, anyone may call for 1 minute of silence. At this time, all discussions, dialogue, and debate must stop. No one individual may use this option more than once during the meeting. After 1 minute of silence has been observed, the speaker may continue or yield the floor. Everyone is urged to keep the focus of the sharing or discussion on substantive issues, relationships, or descriptions of feelings. Naturally, there shall be no name calling, mind reading, guilt making, look how you made me feel, rejecting, or discrediting of another person. It is important to share your feelings and know that you have been heard. You may ask to have your feelings or positions paraphrased by the respondent to ensure you've been heard. So just a reminder to everybody who came on a little bit late, if everyone who is not speaking will put themselves on mute for now, and then you'll have questions, a chance for question and answer at the end. So now I'd like to introduce the board. I'm not really sure of Zoom etiquette around applause, but since you're all muted, you won't hear applause anyway. So let's hold all the applause, if there is, until the end of the introductions. I'm Jackie Saltzman. I'm serving as Vice President of the Board of Trustees, and my term ends with the conclusion of the annual meeting next year, 2021. Our board president over the past year has been Chuck Fulner. Chuck's term would normally end at the conclusion of today's meeting, but since our new members won't be announced until July 20th, Chuck's term will end when the new members are announced, unless obviously he's reelected. Our board secretary is Jeannie Benker. Her term expires at the conclusion of the annual meeting 2022. Our board treasurer is Mark Helm. Mark served as an alternate, was voted by the board to step into Jimmy Wheeler's vacancy, and his term expires at the conclusion of the annual meeting 2022. Our board member at large is William Driscoll. Their term would normally also end at the conclusion of today's meeting, but since the new board members won't be announced until the 20th, their term ends when the new members are announced, unless they are reelected. And our other board member at large is Dave Freilich. His term expires at the conclusion of the annual meeting 2022. Our senior minister is Reverend Valerie Mansfield, Associate Minister Reverend Gwen Moser, and Jerry Boylan serves as a regular speaker and teacher in our community. Our annual meeting parliamentarian this year is Mark Flesh. That's our introductions. Will the Unity of Louisville board members and parliamentarian please smile and wave so you can be recognized? And everybody's welcome to clap for them or snap or do whatever you want. That concludes the introductions. We sent out the annual meeting minutes from last year's meeting in an email, but we've already had some corrections. So we're gonna slide through the annual meeting minutes from 2019. Now I'm going to let everybody read those on their own instead of going through them individually. We might want to go through a little slower if people can, so people can read. And in a few minutes, we'll ask if there's any corrections to the meeting minutes. Right.
We just
Val-
went out of share. Hold on. I don't know what happened. Okay, we're back.
Patience and grace, patience and grace. Okay, thank you. I feel like we should have some of Judy's twinkling music behind while people are reading.
It's interesting to see what a different place we were in last year.
Is that the end?
That's the end. And
Okay, great.
they're all posted on the website.
Okay. So are there any corrections to the 2019 annual meeting minutes? You can raise a hand or put a message in the chat box. All right, there are no corrections to the minutes and they stand as acknowledged. So next, I'm going to hand it over to Val for the minister's report.
Jackie, will you call to approve the minutes?
Yeah, you have to call to approve the minutes, Jackie.
Thank you.
What do I ask for first?
The approval of the minutes.
Motion to.
Can I get a motion to approve the 2019?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2019 minutes for the annual
Thank
meeting.
you, William. Can I get a second?
I saw Faith.
Okay. And everyone who approves, raise your hand, say aye. I think that's most everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, now I'll hand it over to Val for the minister's report.
Yeah, before we do that, does everybody know how to raise their hand? So what you do is you go to participants and you click on that first, and then you go down, there's 3 little dots, and nope, there's a way to raise.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the participants list, there's a box that says raise hand.
Yeah, because I'm the one is a little different, so. Okay. What did I just do? Get off. All right, so I just want to take a moment and acknowledge our staff. But before I do that, I'll put a note up here. You know, and 2019, 2020, it was really a year of an opportunity for our community to grow through many of our challenges and changes. And the good thing is that we've supported each other all through this, and we continue to stand in unity, standing in our truth, flowing in that essence of the divine. I want to acknowledge the staff that is no longer with us first. So I want to give you thanks to all who left this year, and that includes Reverend Ray Nelson, Pam Sweeney, Bethany Dawes, Sherry Wyletta. And Bethany and Sherry were in our youth and family, for those of you that don't know. And here's a good thing. Sherry is starting again this week as a volunteer. She's going to be handling our bookkeeping and doing the day-to-day finances. And somebody needs to mute their mic. I really want to acknowledge Dottie Russell. She has re-retired at the end of June. She has given this community 20 years of her service, both as a volunteer and staff. You know, she's been so dedicated to this community since she arrived here. For the last 6 years, she's been our youth and family coordinator, showing our youth, teens, and families, showering them with love and light. There is a video, and I'm not going to take time right now to show it, but there's a video online of Dottie working with the children throughout her tenure here. And she also recently, with the help of the little ones, created The Adventures of Tootsie Star Rose. Or did I say that correctly, Dottie? And then Reverend Gwen Moser, who supports me in prayer. She does all the SE teaching right now, and she's out there finding new teachers for our SE students that want to learn more about truth and unity. She heads up not only the prayer chaplains here, but she assists those at Unity of East Louisville. She uses her creativity and has redesigned the Kaleidoscope series that we were doing in-house on Wednesday night. And now it's going to be offered on Zoom and starting on August the 5th. And that's really exciting news coming up. She has inspired 5 to 7 individuals in our community to work on becoming licensed Unity teachers or ministers. That is an accomplishment. She coordinates the classes with Unity of East Louisville to ensure all are available for both our communities. She also assists me with the outdoor prayer service on Sunday nights at 6 p.m. that we do at Unity of East Louisville. Krista Mathenley, who was our administrative assistant and now is, and our social media, she left to focus on her massage business. And now she continues to do the live streaming to help us stay on track and keep the live stream going on Sunday mornings. She adds the songs and the chats in. She's the one that said this morning, hey, we dropped and we had to start back up again. So we are very, very appreciative of Krista. Sabrina Robinson is our new administrative assistant and social media employee. She just started in June, and she's handling the website, social media, promotions, day-to-day communications. She is doing the e-news and helping Elaine with that and some other projects that we have going on. She's operating the chat and raise hands during today's Q&A. She's helping us with the creative interactive activities for our youth, teens, and adults. That's all coming down the pipeline. She also assists with our Unity Children's YouTube channel, making sure that the videos are up and helping youth and family with that organizational process. And she's working with Leah to add a discussion board for the upcoming study circles that we're having starting July the 27th on dismantling racism and future adult conversations. Then Chelsea Coe, most of you know, she's been on our staff and worked as a volunteer for over 8 years in our youth and family. She's currently acting as our youth and unit team coordinator. Leah Zellers is our new education director. She's working with our youth program and assisting Chelsea with the teen program. Leah is also heading up our diversity and inclusion ministry that, you know, many of you were a part of last year when we started that, assisting our community and moving forward with our commitment that we created, developing curriculum for the study circles on dismantling racism, discussions and outreach to better serve the community at large. Leah also serves as the board liaison for the Montessori School Committee. We have Phil Crother, whom you all know. He's been a wonderful source of knowledge and expertise, especially this last year, to create that sacred space that we all loved on Sunday mornings and continue to love online. This year he wrote a meditation for the 9 o'clock service and the online meditations for Facebook. He works with our musicians to ensure that we have beautiful music. He and Lisa are leading the outdoor drum circle this Wednesday at Unity of East. And they came up with the name Music Under the Dome for John's concert that he did the other night, and worked with John to make it was so successful and meaning to all of us. You know, and we have Jerry Boylan, who is one of our Sunday speakers, currently not coming in to Livestream, but is doing the Sunday class online on Zoom and also a Tuesday night class. So Jerry's still a big part of what we're doing here. He's just not at this moment coming in to Livestream. There's so many volunteers that I can't mention you all that help this church continue to thrive. Because without the volunteers, there's no way this community would be where we're at today. You guys give us the support and the love. You are the support and love of this wonderful spiritual home. And I truly appreciate you. I just want to acknowledge the Board of Trustees for the hard work they've had this year regarding the move and the selling of our property, which is still going on, the ministerial change, the COVID-19 emergency, our social injustice, and our larger community. They show up, and they show up almost weekly for some meeting that we're having or some issue that's going on that we have to talk about. And a lot of times we're doing this all with little or no formatting. You know, there's not any guidelines in place to carry us through some of the emergencies that we've had. So they have done a spectacular job, and I just want everybody to appreciate them. They are committed to see us manifesting a new way of truth at Unity of Louisville. This year we have beginning a lot of new directions into healing our own community through open conversations, study circles, online, and hopefully in-person services and classes. Church is being redesigned by everyone and everywhere. We know and affirm we are strong and better than transforming our lives and the world through unity truths. We got a lot going on. I'm going to show you the pictures now. I hope to do that at the same time, but it didn't happen. So there's me and Gwen. There's Jerry and Phil. Oh, I missed a whole bunch of staff. There they are. There's Sabrina. Let me go back. Okay, try again. Krista's not, don't have her picture. There's Sabrina when you see her. There's Chelsea, and we don't have Leah's picture today. There's Phil, and we don't have Jerry's, but everybody knows what Jerry looks like. Here's our beautiful board. Chuck's currently our president, Jackie, Jeannie, Mark, William, Dave. We don't have your picture. That's my minister's report. I love you. I bless you. We have so much going on right now and coming forward. I don't even know where to begin, but we have lots of new things to keep us together while we're apart. And when we get back together physically, I think that we will continue having hybrids wherever we go and whatever we're doing. It's a new way of church, and we continue to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Val.
Nope.
All right, so next we'll have Mark Helm, our board treasurer, with our financial report.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Val, is the PowerPoint in?
It's here. Yes.
Okay.
So
While they're pulling that up, a few thousand years ago, JC, that's what he told me to call him, Jesus was given one of his talks, and it was so long, people were starting to get hungry, and the baskets kept going around and the food kept showing up, and Jesus' consciousness was so pure and clear that he could manifest almost instantly exactly what was needed. And many ways I felt like this year was like that with the finances. The money just showed up at the appropriate time when it was needed to be expended. So I want to go through and talk about 2019, then we'll talk about 2020. So in 2019, we had 254,770 in contributions, which was down from 2018. Our education department, 34,949. We made almost 10,000 in events, youth and family. Our total income, this is operating income, was $319,992.06. If you go to the next slide, our expenses totaled $330,063. So you can see our expenses were a little more than our income last year. We had a net operating income loss of $10,070.55.
Attending a meeting at Unity.
There was also if you go to the next slide, we also had some non-operational income and expenses. What that means is we had income coming in that wasn't designated to go into running the day-to-day operations of the church. And in other words, we brought in from our foundation money $50,550. We had other gifts, which I don't have the detail on at this moment, but those were specific gifts designated for specific items of $22,000. And our generosity campaign, which is designed to support the move of Unity of Louisville out of our current facility into a new facility. In the calendar year 2019, we raised $79,213. So the total amount of non-operational income that came in was $151,734. And if you go to the next slide, but we had some expenses out of that. In the generosity campaign, we expended $63,298. Most of that was for the most of that was for the cost of the vendor that we hired to help us raise the capital that led the generosity campaign and coached us, and the cost of, we had, if you remember, we had a church under contract. We did some inspections on that church, and those were the expenses that were involved in that move. We spent a little bit of money on interest, and the 180 and the 50 were depreciable capital expenses on the roof and other parts of the building. So of that net other income that came in that was non-operational, we remained with $77,377 of it. Unity Foundation report. So in, these are different numbers than I have. So in the Unity Foundation, which used to be called the Anderson Fund, when we closed the year, December 31st, 2019, we had $10,714.62 in the foundation. And that money is invested in stocks and bonds and is designed. This is what we have used to fall back on when we've been low on income. It was designed to help support us, and it has been a real lifesaver for us. If you could go to the next slide. Now, usually we create a new budget each year. This year, what we decided to do was, given last year's budget was created around doing a move, and we didn't do the move last year, we have been using last year as our budget for this year. So we've had a lot of unusual times. So it was decided by the board to use that rather than create a new budget, because we were just unsure, what to put in that budget. So that's what we used last year's numbers for. And those have been our reference points this year. If you go to the next slide. So just to bring you up to date, this year so far, we have brought in $96,147 in contributions, and you can see that's below what we had last year. And our expenses have been below where we were last year, $117,060. A lot of that is obviously because we're not in the church, so our utility bill isn't quite as high, although it's still high, and our payroll's down a little bit. So that's where we are so far this year. And I know who I'm talking to in this meeting, but I just remind you that as we go through this challenging time, tithing is designed to keep the flow of abundance flowing through your life, our life, and the universe. So be sure to give money towards where you're getting your spiritual nourishment. If Unity of Louisville is it, be sure to donate there. It makes a difference, and it makes a difference for you. So that's my foundation. That's my financial report.
Thank you, Mark. Now I'm going to hand it over to your current board president, Chuck Fulner, to give the board president's report.
I'd like to start off with the most impressive part of the year, and that was that we had 5,956 hours of volunteer effort that was done in 21 different ministries, and that was provided by 147 different people. And I'll have to tell you, I think that's way underreporting, because most people who routinely do things don't write it down. And as much as Reverend Gwen Moser has been after all of us to do so, we just don't. So I think that number is off by 40, if not 50%. But in a congregation our size, that's a remarkable amount of people doing a wonderful number of things and providing support without which we really couldn't exist. Said a more positive way, that's how we exist. Our current contract to sell the property downtown to the Christy Love Foundation runs out in the next few weeks. And if they don't indicate to us in a positive manner that they are going to be able to close on our contract, then we will not renew it with them again, and we'll proceed with finding a different buyer. Our commercial agent, Charlotte Holkamp, has been doing that in the background anyway, lining up some alternate purchasers for us, and has gotten quite a bit of interest. We'll continue to go down that road about selling our property and then moving on to something that's more appropriately sized for us. Charlotte is also helping identify various locations that we might consider once we get to the point of having sold our current property to whomever the new buyer will be. And I think we'll be able to manage that transition fairly, I started to say easily, but we'll be able to manage that transition. On other news, we do have some committees that have been actively involved in. We have a growth committee that's been working hard to help grow our congregation, and another possibilities committee to identify other ways of raising funds, and a diversity team that has been hard at work to help us make a transition from the life that we once led to a new life in which we include everybody in our commitment to transforming the world through love and transforming ourselves first and the world through love. Jackie, did you want to add anything about what the diversity team has been doing?
I'll do a report when you're finished.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
I knew we were going to get that done correctly. So there it is. We're continuing on the physical plant stuff. I think I'm not going to say when I think we'll have this done. I've done that too many times, so I'm just going to refrain from that. But we are continuing to proceed in an orderly fashion. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chuck.
Welcome.
So I'm the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Chair for the board, and I've been leading most of those efforts, but as Val announced, Leah Zellers has been now, with her role as Education Director, will be taking on a lot of those efforts. So to stand by Unity's core value of inclusion and to stand by our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion statement that we put out last year, or maybe even at the end of the year before, and also to stand by our statement of solidarity with the Black community, we have committed to the following ongoing efforts. We're going to do we've committed to board and leadership training focused on dismantling racism. We will be including dismantling racism work in our next strategic planning efforts, which will be coming up in the next 6 months. We've committed to auditing and correcting any of our policies and procedures that aren't inclusive or equitable. And for the community, as Val mentioned before, we have 3 different study circles we're starting with. We'll have more, but we're starting with 3 different study circles led by Val, Gwen, and Leah. So you'll have more information on that coming soon. So we're excited about all these efforts. So moving on to election of the new board members, I'm going to hand it over now to Jeannie Binker, who is our board secretary.
All righty. So let me read the section 4.04 Board of Trustees elections. A, qualifications. Any person elected to the Board of Trustees must be an active member of Unity of Louisville, Inc., who, 1, deserves to serve on the board, 2, endeavors to live in accord with the Jesus Christ principles of love and truth as taught by Unity, 3, furthers the work of this ministry through active interest, love, and support, 4, is a sincere and continuing student of Unity, conversant with its teachings, and 5, has demonstrated leadership qualities. I would like to introduce John Russell from the Nominating Committee. He will introduce you to the board position candidates nominated by this committee by reading their biographies. After each bio is read, I will call on the candidate to speak for 2 minutes. John, it's all yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to say thanks to the board and for their service, and thanks to the people who volunteered to serve on the board. My job was really easy. People were very willing when asked, and I appreciate it. Ago, the challenge to them probably looked a lot different than it does now, and I appreciate them hanging in there. So I'll start reading the biographies. Chuck Fulner. Chuck Fulner is 69 years old, lives with his wife Diana in Louisville. Chuck has 30 years plus experience in health and human service management and another 10 years in insurance industry. He brings strategic planning, budgeting, and communication skills to the board. Chuck currently serves as board president, does front-end platforming for select Sunday morning 11 a.m. services, and is a member of the usher team. Chuck looks forward with an open heart and mind to continue board service. Chuck?
When I was first elected to a one-year term as an alternate and then subsequently to a three-year term as a member at large, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And neither did you when you elected me. So as a candidate for another three-year term, I think I owe you certain transparencies. The first is I will be a voice of caution when it comes to returning to in-person services on Sunday. We simply don't know what we don't know about how this virus is spreading, and what we do know would suggest that we should move slowly for our mutual protection. I personally would be very surprised if we're back together before next spring. That said, I will support our efforts to return and on the interim basis to build and enhance our online platforms. I also will support a sale of our current property and a move to a right-sized location. I believe that we'll be better served by leasing space, at least initially, and perhaps permanently, all things being equal. I also support collaborating with Unity of East Louisville by sharing ministerial and staff resources and co-sponsoring events, training, and classes whenever possible. It is my personal belief that both congregations would benefit from a merger, and I will work towards making that happen. Now, I understand that a merger will require approval by a supermajority of both congregations, as well as working around certain issues we will have with Unity Worldwide Ministries. But I think it's important that you know what my thought process is in that direction. 8 months ago in November, the board signed a contract with Reverend Val, appointing her as our minister for an interim period of up to 2 years. Soon we will need to begin the process that's outlined in the bylaws for identifying and appointing a minister on a permanent basis. On a personal level, I would welcome an application from Reverend Val if she's interested. However, I trust that our process will identify the best solution for us going forward. I pledge that I will do my part to make that process as transparent as possible, and I'll respect and honor whatever decision the congregation makes. My skill set and the focus that I have had and will continue to have will be on the finite part of our congregation's life and to serve as a spokesperson for the board. I am content to be one of the board's lesser lights and direct my attention to help build and maintain the platform that our spiritual leaders, both on the board and on our staff and in our community at large, can use to transform our lives and the world through love. I do look forward to serving whatever capacity I may be called. Namaste, y'all.
Thank you, Chuck. Next candidate is William Driscoll. William has been a prayer chaplain for 3 years, having been the co-lead for 2 of those years. Reads the daily word on the 3rd Sunday, facilitated several Unity 101 classes, has served on the board of trustees for 1.5 years, and is a oneness blesser. Born in New Jersey, William lived in Williamsburg, Virginia for 7 years, has enjoyed traveling and seeing the country throughout his life. William moved to Louisville in 2013 and has enjoyed being a part of this community since December 2015, enjoying the warm, welcoming community where people are practicing their beliefs and are actively creating more in their lives. Williams' education accomplishments are varied and include a degree in microbiology, molecular genetics, acting classes in HB Studio in New York City and at Rutgers University, as well as studies in energy, medicine, metaphysics, Reiki, and other flavors and styles of energy work. Williams would be honored to serve the board as we as a community move through this time, heart and soul. William?
Thank you. So I was asked like about 1.5 years to serve as a alternate, and I guess as tends to happen at Unity, I had one meeting as an alternate, and then I became immediately on the board. So things just keep on rolling, and it's been a wonderful experience being on the board, especially during this time where we've had so much change, and I got to learn so much about how that part of the congregation works. So we're in an interesting place right now. Last year we were working on this idea of changing by moving, and who knew all this other stuff would happen. And as I look back, I think of how our vision helped us, and even guidance, because I imagine what would have happened if we actually bought that place, the beautiful church. We'd be sitting here with COVID-19 and not being able to use it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is moving through this year and the next, about looking at what our vision is and where do we want to take this new world of church, whether it be online, in person, or a hybrid of the two, as Val was talking about. And there seem to be so many opportunities to do that. And if I do get to be on the board again, I very much want to work with having us as a community and a congregation to decide on where do we want to take Unity of Louisville in this perhaps next several years. What is that vision of what we want? I definitely think ideas of synergizing with East is a very good idea. There's a lot of things that overlap between congregations, and if we can utilize our abilities together, we're always stronger together than we are separately. So I think whatever we can do to synergize that would be great. And maybe if there's enough support for it, to look back again at what do we want our visions and values to be. I know around like 7 years ago, there was a discussion about what those are, and we have the wonderful principles that we used to always see on our at the altar there. And do those still work for us, or do we need to adjust that more? So I would be looking very much interested in engaging the congregation into what is it we want to do as a group to move forward in this brand new and amazing time. And thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, William. Our next candidate is Bill Kuntz. Bill has many experiences which will be helpful to serve on the board. He has a BBA in accounting and to other management positions. Bill was an adjunct professor at 2 universities. He has been a council person and mayor of a 6th-class city. Bill has volunteered and been a volunteer board member of an arts organization, served as a board member of historic properties, and a representative of a neighborhood association. Bill served as a board member of a Methodist church. He is a member of a local and national committees for 12-step recovery groups. Bill has volunteered for Everyone Reads in Jefferson County Public School. bill also serves preparing tax returns for low-income individuals. Bill?
Thanks, John. Well, John asked me if I would be willing to run, and I said yes. Service is something I work at trying to do, so I am more than glad to run for this position. One of the things that I think I do bring is an open mind. I don't have any great serious convictions about what we should or should not do. I feel very strongly about the unity principles. I think we have a very strong message that the world needs right now, and so I would be glad to be a part of putting that out there. And beyond that, we'll let the congregation decide what happens. So with that, I'm in. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Our next candidate is Liz Nussbaum. My name is Liz Nussbaum. I joined Unity of Louisville about 3 years ago. I love this community, and it has become a family to me. I've been searching for a spiritual community my whole life. And for the first time, I feel like I have found a place to be myself and feel inspired to strengthen my spirituality. When I first thought about running for a position on the Board of Trustees, I was concerned that I haven't been at Unity long enough to be helpful to the board. However, after thought and prayer, I came to believe that sometimes a voice that is newer to the community may bring a new perspective and ideas. My spiritual journey started in childhood in the Christian Disciples of Christ. My mother encouraged me to search out my own spirituality and relationship with God. And as an adult, I tried attending many different churches, and none of them felt right. My relationship with a power greater than myself started to grow when I became a member of a recovery community. I took several meditation classes, found a stronger relationship with God that I was not able to find in different. Heard of Unity of Louisville from several friends, encouraged me to attend. I did not want to try church again, but when I finally agreed to give it a try, I was so surprised to find my home. I had no idea that a coffee date with Reverend Gwen and started volunteering as offered at Unity, taught by Ryan Lucan, and started volunteering for the Energy Works the second Sunday of every month after church. I took 2 classes, and I said, with Reverend Ray, and a class on prayer with Reverend Gwen. I also took a Reiki class. I did Reiki 3 and master classes with Reverend Val. I had no idea that my spiritual journey would be so rich, and I'm like a school psychologist at Greater Clark County School in Indiana. This group followed Robert's Rules of Order, and I served as the secretary. Liz, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I think probably said a lot. I guess Frank and I joined about 4 years ago now at Unity. So, you know, this is pretty intimidating actually to be asked to serve on the board. But I think having that perspective would bring something different to the board. So I'm willing, and I guess that's it. I've missed you guys. Miss seeing y'all every week. Thanks.
Our next candidate is Christy. Has been in Unity for 12 years. She served as a prayer chaplain for 5 years teacher and has her degree in elementary education. Her own company for 5 years after working with other companies like Simeon and Real Estate Unlimited for over 22 years. Christy has recently retired and is looking to start her own business as a life coach. Previously, she was with the unit where she volunteered as a teacher for minister. It was a very interesting experience with all the different things of the Board of Unity of Louisville. She looks forward to serving faithfully. Christy, would you like to say a few?
Yes, I would. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, so when I found Unity of Louisville, I was most amazed that there was a place that I could feel so at home. And I was overjoyed that I'd finally found a church that professed the feelings and insights and beliefs that I had believed for quite a while, even before finding Unity. It was what I was looking for. And Unity is the most important church I've ever been involved in, even though I grew up Catholic. And of course, Catholics are not supposed to feel that way. But Unity served all the purposes that I wanted it to serve. The love and the trust and the truth, and being able to tell other people about my experiences there and about the great love I felt with the people there in the congregation, and the acceptance. I have to admit, I've been a little lax in volunteering, and that is definitely something I want to change. I've been a Reiki master teacher for 10 to 15 years now, and I don't know why I haven't been working with the energy work people on the second Sunday, and I hope to start that as soon as we get back to being together. And I do send Reiki energy out to people in the congregation, just personally from me to everyone, and I'd like to be able to continue to do more of that, and especially I want to be able to serve this community that has become to mean so much to me. And being on the board is a good place to start, although we aren't right there in the church, which I miss terribly. But this seems like a good place to start, and then to grow from there into more things that I can be supportive of and help with. And I particularly am interested in the diversity and how to work with growing the diversity in our community. I've wondered what we've been doing, and I had not even thought to ask, but I think that'll be one of the things I'll be looking into soon. And I'm very grateful to be here and to just be a part of all of this. Whether I end up on the board or not, I'll still be there and I'll still be working. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy, and thank all of you candidates for your willingness to serve and put yourself out there in this exciting and challenging time. So, Jeannie?
All righty. We have 2 Board of Trustee positions open and 2 positions for alternates. We also have several committees, and so we really hope that those who do not get elected will obviously serve on a committee. So at this time, I wanted to ask if there's any nominations from the Zoom floor. How about that? I don't know if somebody can check to see if there's any nominations while I'm reading. Any nominations?
I don't see anything in the chat.
Okay. I'll give it another 5 seconds. All right. And if not, you guys already know that you've already had your ballots sent to you through either email or mail, regular mail. The board will give you an additional 2 weeks to submit your ballots. Like I said, there's 2 for Board of Trustees and 2 for alternates. The final nominee will be asked to serve on the final nominee who is not elected will be asked to serve on upcoming committees. And then we will give you the final results during the July 26th Sunday service and through e-news.
Jeannie, I also just put a link to the ballot in the chat box.
Oh, thank you so much. I was going to ask about that. Yeah. So if you haven't done it, it's very, very, very easy. I do know we have already had 35 to 40 people already vote, so I'm thrilled to death. So keep voting. Tell other members to vote.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Jeannie.
Yes.
All right, I will now read the bylaws for selecting a primary and alternate member for the nominating committee for next year. So the nominating committee.
Wait.
Oh, what?
We have to do the bylaws first. We have to vote on the bylaws changes. We have 2 bylaws.
Got it. Remind me, it's backwards in the script. Remind me to go back to the.
Oh, well, go ahead then and just do that.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
That's okay. A nominating committee shall be formed at least 3 months prior to the annual membership meeting and shall initiate a search for at least 2 candidates for the Board of Trustees. The committee shall consist of the minister and 3 active members selected in the following manner. At the annual membership meeting, the membership shall elect from its active membership a primary member and an alternate to serve on the nominating committee for next year's election. The alternate will serve in the event the primary member is unavailable. If the primary and alternate members are both unavailable, the board shall appoint an active member other than a board member to serve. The board shall elect one of its trustees. Together with the minister, the above 2 committee members shall select a 3rd committee member from the active membership who shall become chairperson of the nominating committee. In the event of an interim board, the nominating committee shall complete its selection process within 30 days from the establishment of the interim board. So the floor is now open for nomination as primary member of the nominating committee. Do we have any nominations to be a primary member of the nominating committee?
And you can self-nominate.
Yeah. You can raise your hand if you're on video. You can put your name or someone else's name in the chat box.
Alan, let me undo Alan. Let me unmute Alan. Go ahead, Alan.
I'd like to nominate Dolores Morton.
Is she on here?
Yeah, she was.
Dolores, do you accept? Sorry, Jackie.
Go ahead. It's a team effort.
I'm looking.
This is Dolores.
Do you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I cannot accept at this time. I appreciate the offer, Alan.
Okay.
Okay.
We had a nomination in the chat box from Leah Zellers to nominate Alan. Sure. Alan.
I would love to accept that.
Oh, righty then.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, can I please get a motion to accept this nomination from anyone?
Make a motion to accept Alan as a
William,
nomination.
and a second?
I second it.
All right, thanks, Faith. All those who approve of this nomination of Alan Shearer, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
I think everybody's got double hands going. All right, so we have accepted Alan as our primary member of the nominating committee. The floor is now open for an alternate member of the nominating committee.
I voted for Melvin.
All right, Melvin, do you accept the nomination?
I will.
Yay, thanks, Melvin. Okay, can I move for someone to motion to accept this nomination?
I'll move. So, Robert Bagley.
Thank you, Robert. A second?
Dottie
seconds it.
Thank
And
you.
all those who approve as Melvin for, yeah, say aye.
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 All right.
Aye.
Thank you. And Melvin. Y'all are awesome. So we've got as our primary member is Alan and our alternate member is Melvin. Thank you, thank you, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Now we're going to move on to, we have 2 bylaw changes that are up for a vote. And these are also in the ballot that we sent the link for that you've been sent. The first one is an addition. So the first one is an emergency clause, and it was recommended by Unity Worldwide Ministries. This one is an addition to what we have. So Article 8, emergency situations. In the case of a national emergency declared by the President of the United States, a state emergency declared by the governor, or a local emergency as determined by a 2/3 vote of the local ministry, trustees present and voting, the Board of Trustees is authorized to meet by electronic means and to have the full power to adjust budgets and cancel/postpone events or reschedule them as electronic meetings. As long as the emergency lasts, the Board of Trustees may take any other emergency actions deemed helpful and necessary to assure the welfare of the ministry. So any discussions about this bylaw addition that was recommended by Unity Worldwide Ministries? Okay, so this bylaw addition is on your ballot, and there's a yes or no. It's the first one of the 2 bylaw changes, and there's a yes or no. So make sure you click on yes or no on your ballot, electronic ballot. So our second bylaw change is an actual change to a bylaw regarding the Board of Trustees and who is allowed and prohibited to serve on the Board of Trustees. This was also recommended by Unity Worldwide Ministries. So the Board of Trustees, the structure, the Board of Trustees shall consist of the minister and 6 trustees elected from the active membership of University of Louisville, Inc. Each elected trustee shall hold office for 3 years. The terms of 2 elected trustees shall expire annually, and their office shall be filled by election at the annual membership meeting in accordance with section 4.04. No elected trustee shall serve more than 2 consecutive terms without an interval of 1 year between the terms. So as it currently reads, I'm going to read as it currently reads, and then I'm going to read the addition or the proposed change. As it currently reads, it says the following are prohibited from serving on the Board of Trustees: any active licensed Unity teacher, individuals actively receiving compensation from the ministry, with exception of the minister, and then third, relatives, significant others, or household members of any board member, licensed Unity teacher, or individual receiving compensation from the ministry. That's as it reads now. The proposed change will be as follows. The following persons are prohibited from serving on the Board of Trustees. 1, any active licensed Unity teacher from this ministry. 2, relatives, significant others, or household members of any trustee of the ministry. 3, individuals receiving compensation from the ministry with the exception of the senior minister or co-ministers. And 4, as an explanation, relatives, significant others, or household members of any individual receiving compensation from the ministry may serve on the board, but may not vote on any matter of compensation as it relates to such individual or business entity owned by such individual. The changes are, we added the co-minister. You'll be able to see this on the ballot, better than listening to it probably. Yes, so this was recommended by Unity Worldwide Ministries. The explanation's on your ballot. Are there any questions or discussion regarding this change to the bylaw about who can serve on the Board of Trustees? All right, so that is also on your ballot. So be sure to vote for both of those. All right. Okay, so now we're moving on to new business, which is also the time for question and answers. For any of the reports, anything we've talked about today, any questions we have, or any of the reports that anybody has presented today. So do we want to answer the two hands that have been raised first?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was Hugh Spalding and Family Fun. I don't know who that one is. But those were the two hands that were raised a few minutes ago.
All right, so Hugh, why don't you unmute yourself and ask your question, if you still have one.
You guys are doing a great job. You know, this technology that has been implemented here to inform the community is really extraordinary, and we really support you, Jackie, for doing a great job leading this meeting, and Junie and Chuck and Dave and Mark, you know, the whole board, all of you guys are doing a wonderful job. Thank you for your leadership during these really tough times. I'm kind of reacting to what Chuck was saying earlier about the safety of us coming back together in terms of a community, in terms of just gathering together. We are a very hugging community. We love to be in each other's space and so forth. My comment is that until we have a vaccine for the coronavirus, it's likely that Zelda and I will not be present in the sanctuary in close proximity to others there. You know, I love you guys. I miss you guys. But our health and safety is paramount in this new world that we're living in. I just wanted to add my support. I will continue to tithe like I have in the past, and I will continue to volunteer like I have in the past. But my presence in the sanctuary will not happen until you know, this quarantine process is over, and you know, that's it. That's my comment.
Thank you, Hugh. I appreciate your concern. I think that's on everybody's minds, and I know the leadership will take the safety and concern of everybody very seriously. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. And I don't think anybody's in a rush to get back until we know it's safe for all. Val, do you want to?
Okay, so yeah, I agree with that. Hey, thank you for that. So who is Family Fun? Do you still have a question?
Valerie?
Yes.
That's Mike and Sherry Knight, but I actually did not have a question. I think I was trying to respond to one of the seconds of a vote. So
okay.
It actually wasn't a question, but
okay.
I agree with what Hugh just added about we want to thank all of you all for everything that you've done during this unsettling time, and the way, you know, you all have worked so hard with the live stream, which we so much appreciate and look forward to every week. And even with the glitches and the problems, the love is still there and it still comes through. And we just want all of you to know that we're extremely grateful for all that you do for all of us. And we feel your love and support every day. And we send our love and prayers and support back to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Any other new business, questions, comments?
Alan?
Yes. I think so many people appreciate what you guys are doing to keep us together as a community. And I just want people to know that Gwen and Dolores and Melvin, Denise Keller, Bonnie Griffith, and I, we are continuing to reach out to people in our community who are sick in the hospital. We'll continue doing that. And I just have a request from everyone. I know some of us have been making telephone calls. People are so appreciative to receive a call saying, hello, I've missed seeing you. The response is amazing. And if all of us could just pick up the phone, and there's no certain amount of people to call, you can actually call 10 people in no time at all. But we want to keep our community together. While we may be separate, we are together. And to let everybody know that we're in this together, we love you, and we might be apart, but we're all in each other's thoughts and prayers. So if we can all just pick up the phone and let people know that we miss you. We can see you on Sunday. There's a lot of good things going on, but that personal contact with the telephone, it is just doing some wonderful things.
And Alan, I'm going to join you on that. If anyone wants to make calls, I put out a call, I don't know, in May, I think, late April, early May, for people to call. And we called all of our members at least once, I think, if not more than once. Some people are still making those calls. If you want to make calls and you currently are not making them, we have a whole list of non-members that are regular attendees that have not gotten calls. So there's a whole lot going on. I see you, Dolores.
Okay.
So I just wanted to piggyback on what Alan said.
Val, you went mute.
Sorry. Dolores, I have Faith, Kimberly, and then you.
Okay.
Faith, you want to go?
Yeah, I thank you again for everybody. I parrot what they have said. My question, I guess, is more about y'all's safety. How often do the microphones get cleaned off, and can they be cleaned off since you're standing right there and some of you have similar microphones, or do they keep them real separate? So I'm just concerned for your safety.
Yeah. Bill, do you want to answer that one? Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the microphone no one uses on a Sunday. Whoever has whatever microphone you have when we start the service is the only microphone you touch. Each microphone is disinfected after the service, and just to be doubly sure, disinfected again the day before the service on the Saturday. All the mic stands, all the music stands, all the keys on the piano, the handrails. We leave all the doors open so that none of us touch door handles. So, you know, and we keep our mask on, as you see, right up to the last minute. But yeah, we've been disinfecting microphones for over a year now. Of course, we're doing it religiously, so to speak, now. But thanks for asking.
Yeah, I kind of thought you were, but I just like the reassurance because I don't want y'all getting sick either.
Sure.
Thanks, Faith.
Kimberly, do you want me to, do you want to ask your question that's in the chat, or are you going? Get down. Kim? Okay. Kimberly, are you going to ask your question? You're unmuted. I guess I'll ask it. What you
Sorry,
said
I
was,
have my headphone in. Can you hear me now?
yes, we can.
Okay, I don't know why it wasn't going through. So yeah, that was actually an accident. I didn't mean to have that posted in the actual chat because I actually have 2 questions.
Okay.
It was just to make a note, but I'll ask it verbally. So yeah, I noticed through the numbers that we're down about 20 to 30,000 so far this year, and I was wondering, do we have any current plans in mind to help meet the deficit so we don't have to keep relying on the actual foundation?
Well, I can answer that one and then I'll let Mark answer it. One thing that happened this year that was unusual, that has helped us become running in the black, was that we received the PPA small business loan from the government for payroll and other expenses. We can use it for payroll, interest on a mortgage, utilities. So that was $35,800, which is assisting us so that we do not have to go into the foundation with all the unknowns that we're dealing with right now. I don't have all the answers as to where the money's going to come from in the future. We just keep doing it, and we know, as Mark said earlier, the flow just continues to go. When we ask, it shows up. Mark, you got anything to add?
Well, there's also committees that have been put together to create additional sources of income and come up with ideas, and it's very interesting, some of the things that they've come up with. Our operating expenses are, by design, a little bit lower than last year's, particularly around payroll, but most of the money's coming from you all. So that's where we are at the moment. We have, when Chuck was talking about Charlotte had a couple people looking at the building, he's right, but they are very actively looking at the building. Our intention is we're holding a vision that this building is sold this year, and with the sale of that building and virtually no debt on it, our intention is to reimburse and build, hundreds of thousands back into the foundation that we have used over the past, decade to cover our shortfalls. So we're holding a vision that foundation money gets is grown quite a bit this year. Our donations have been down primarily because we're not meeting together. So I just want to put it out there, and we're holding in consciousness that you guys are donating and creating abundance in your lives too.
Hi. One thing on that comment, and I'll let you ask your next question, Kim, is that what we're not receiving is the cash, which is not a significant amount each week. It's all goes towards the same thing, but that's what we're not receiving. We have some really committed givers, and those that weren't committed before are now committed and are sending in their tithes either online or through some other means. So we are really supported by you guys, by the community. And I think we are so much, our abundance is we walk our talk at Unity of Louisville. Compared to other churches, it's a blessing. Thank you all.
And Val, can I just say one thing? If anybody has an idea of how to raise, prosperity, consciously minded ideas, please send them to me, Val, Gwen, Kim. We'll act on it, trust me. So please, if you have an idea of how to raise a couple $1,000s, trust me, we'll act on it. We're part of the prosperity possibility team. Thank you.
Right. That's where the concert with John Gage came from.
Yeah.
Yeah. That concert that we had with John Gage, that came through that group of you know, just looking outside the box. What is it? We don't know. So Kim, go ahead with your second question, and then Dolores.
So I've noticed on Sundays that there tends to be almost every Sunday some sort of technical difficulty. I was wondering, have we thought about moving away from a live stream to pre-recording? And that way all the technical difficulties would be non-existent because they can essentially be edited out. And then we could have a variety of speakers because they can pre-record in their home and just something along those lines.
We are talking about it. I actually met with Sunny last week about different ways. I talked with Amanda a few weeks ago about different ways that we could do the Sunday service while we're not able to meet together. So we are in conversations about other possibilities and opportunities, and we don't know yet where that's coming. One of the things that we did have to do, so everybody's aware, is we use a Mevo camera. They upgraded to a new app. When we upgraded with that app, our iPhone would not speak to the app anymore because we had an iPhone that Reverend Gwen graciously gave us that was older. And so last week, we went and purchased, or 2 weeks ago, I went and purchased a new iPad. I said iPhone, it was iPad. And now we have it. The technical difficulties that we had with it freezing up today and last week comes from a bug that is in the app that we have no control over, other than we won't be zooming in, because when we do that, that's when the glitches occur. So we are there. That's where we're at. And we are looking at new possibilities. So if you have some ideas, get with me, and I'm hoping to have a tech meeting soon, like next week sometime.
Can I say something now?
Yep.
I just want to say the only thing I would say is I've watched a lot of pre-recorded videos from other churches and other events. And the one thing that we get that you don't get when you do that is there's the energy. Even though it's a small team of us, you've got the energy of the sanctuary, you've got the familiar surrounding, and we're actually there doing the service. So when you see it on Facebook, it actually is live and you're interacting with us live. When things are pre-recorded, they do lose a lot of that. They lose energy, because I've witnessed it myself. I just feel it's important to mention that, because it is easier, but you know, editing glitches out and stuff like that is very time consuming. So that's what I just needed to say that.
Yeah. And
Well,
the other,
can I
the
clarify
other thing with
something with
that,
my statement?
oh,
Is
sorry.
that you can still do it together, just instead of recording it at 11 a.m. on a Sunday, you could do it later in the day all together. And then if something doesn't feel right, something you didn't get the sound just right on that one song, or you didn't get the words right on this one part, or you didn't get the vocals or anything like that, you can actually just go back and fix those little parts, and then people wouldn't even know that there was even a glitch to begin with. So you can still be together.
Yeah, I know.
But
I've done a lot of that in the past. I've done a lot of TV. And there's just something when you know, it's like being in the sanctuary, when you know people are watching and they're listening and you're in sync at the same time, it is different.
Yeah, and the other thing too with that is that
Hey, I'll call you right
just
back.
we just upgraded, and we haven't, because I just did it this past week, where we can live stream to more than one location, because I had people ask me if because they don't really do Facebook, they prefer to use YouTube. So we now have a Vimeo account, not a Vimeo, I don't know what it's called.
Vimeo.
Have it, and we will start practicing first to live stream to both YouTube and Facebook, so that those who want to watch it on their TV on YouTube can, and those that want to do Facebook can. That's kind of where we're at. And we'll continue to look and to see what's best for the community. All right, Dolores Morning, you're
Hey. Well, I'm glad you clarified that the people are sending their money in. via whatever they can. Myself, and I suggest this to everybody, either have a debit account or a credit card account. That way the church always knows how much money they have coming in every month. If it's automatic, that way they don't have to guess at how much money they're going to have coming in. And another little tidbit that I came up with is to bring any more money in. Each and every one of us got the $1,200 from the government. And I, for one, challenge everyone to send their 10% of that $1,200 in. That could up what we have right away. So I'm encouraging everyone to even think about that. That is income coming into us. And I would suggest that as a way of bringing up our balance sheets. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolores. Joy had 2 questions. Joy, do you want to come unmute yourself?
Yes. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. Yes, I was wondering, when we were discussing the financial picture of Unity, the categories were pretty broad. Is there a way that we can get a breakdown of, under each of those categories, how it's really being spent, so we can get a better idea of how the money is outflowing? It would be helpful to know. And so that's part A, and then part B was about the staff changes. I was surprised to hear so many staff changes were going on. And is there a way that we can be kept more informed about what's happening? I realize it's more difficult during this time of COVID, and you're doing a great job of keeping everything flowing. But we're getting these weekly newsletters, or a little bit notes here and there, and I appreciate that. It'd be nice to know about those types of things going on within our community. So those are the 2 things I wanted to ask about.
Thanks,
Okay.
Joy.
I can answer part of the first one. Yes, you can always ask for the finances after each meeting, the board meeting. We also have the capability now, and Sabrina has got it up, I think, and we have to get the password out to all the members. We now have a member login on our website where we will be posting monthly the financials after the board approves them. So everybody, all members will receive the same password to get into our member website, so that you can view anything that's going on, ask questions of the board. Well, you can do that already. And but view the finances and things like that. We just didn't want board minutes. All that'll be available on the website. And you can always email me, and I'll email you the last financials wherever they're at. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As far as staff changes go, most of the changes occurred at the beginning of the end of last year, the beginning of this year, where Bethany and Sherry left in Youth and Family, and of course, Ray and Pam left. So those were the first ones that all happened in that first quarter of the year, end of year, first quarter of this year. And then Dottie just retired in June. So her last day was June the 30th. And we put it out there. Probably didn't put it out there. I thought we did for Bethany and Sherry in the e-news, and we might not have. But I think that we probably did. I try to acknowledge people when they serve in whatever capacity. So it seems like a lot of changes. Krista, her business, she has her own business. She has a massage business, and with COVID, she was trying to reopen and has reopened. So she wanted to spend her time that she was here dedicated to her own personal business, and is still here with us on Sundays.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And the other part of that was you had the Music Under the Dome. That was a wonderful event. How did we do with that event?
We're still getting funds in for it, so I'm not quite sure. We have the new, we have a new way to bring money into the church, a new system on our website. We used to all be through PayPal, and now it's coming through another organization called Vanco. And we get those in almost daily. So within the next week, we'll have a firm number of how we did on that concert.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Joy. Thanks, Val. Any other new business or questions?
Becky, just one other thing. So everybody knows, we always post the board meeting minutes once they're approved, and the financials are always attached to that every month. So that's just another way to keep yourselves in the loop if you ever want.
This is Dottie. I just wanted to say I have enjoyed coming to the Sunday evening services at East. It's very nice to be there under the stars, and well, when the stars come out, but the breezes and the birds singing, it's been very nice. And I wanted to know if Phil could say a little bit more about the drumming circle that is coming up.
Yep, you're on, Phil.
I'm on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Lots of drumming circles are very instructional. Someone tells you what to do, and they tell you when to stop and when to start and so forth. But we decided we wanted to take this one and make it very intuitive. So basically, me and Lee and Lisa will play very basic drums, a kind of anchor for everyone, a deep sound. And then what we want people to do is just to sit quietly for a few minutes, and as things come into your heart, into your mind, you may feel a rhythm or sense a rhythm, hear something in your head, then come in, and then just let it kind of be very intuitive, non-instructional. We're just hoping that everyone's going to lock into the same vibe. So it should be easy, it should be fun, and don't forget to bring a drum if you have one. Bring a chair and a face mask, and we'll be socially distancing. And it should be a lot of fun. I don't know what else to say. Val is bringing a couple of extra drums. And Lisa just said it's going to be very rejuvenating.
Yeah, so if you haven't attended the outdoor service and you like to be outside with safety precautions taken, you're bringing your own chair, your own drink, your own, so wearing a face mask, we social distance, so we stay, 6 feet apart. We do that on Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. It's open to both churches. There's parking in the lower lot, and we meet up in the upper lot, so everybody's welcome. If you haven't been there, it's on Old Harrods Creek Road, and you just park in that lower lot. There's like a field, and then a lower parking lot, and an upper parking lot at the building. And we actually meet behind the building, kind of, so it's in the shade. And you don't hear the traffic so much that goes by when we're back there. I haven't really noticed it a whole lot. And it's a very nice way to spend time together in prayer. That's what we focus on Sunday nights, is prayer. And then because we are Unity folks, we like to talk a lot. So we'll sit around afterwards and just gab for a little while. And then we're looking forward to that drumming circle. And I do have a few extra drums, so if anybody has any and they don't mind sharing them, I know this is not the best time to share, but I find that if you can put them in a black bag and just leave them somewhere for a week or so, the virus is gone. So there you go. We do have some comments too. Liz made an excellent comment about sending out the automatic donation information via our e-news. So we will do that. Sabrina said that's a great idea, or Jackie did, so we'll make sure that it happens. The drumming circle on Wednesday is 7 p.m. for about an hour. And I guess that's it. Do we have any more raised hands? Wait a minute. Christy has a hand up. So does Gwen. And then was there somebody else?
Can you do me a favor before Christy speaks? What was Liz about the e-news? I was sending the address to Unity East when you commented. So sorry.
That's okay. I should have put it in the chat. I will. Putting the information about automatic donations in the e-news.
Okay, thank you.
And with our new system, you can automatically do it on your own through the website. You can have automatic donations. I see Sharon too. So Christy?
Yes.
And then Gwen, and then Sharon and William. Do you have your hand up? Okay.
No, I don't. No,
I
I shouldn't.
Okay. So Christy and then Sharon.
Okay, I just want to get this straight in my head. Tonight's service is at Unity East, correct?
Yes.
At 6 p.m.
Right.
Okay, and then the drumming circle, which church is that at?
At Unity East.
Oh,
at
all
7.
Unity East.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we don't have outdoor space where we can social distance here.
Yeah,
So
that's
they're
right.
gracious enough. And they participate in it too.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Sharon Aiken. I'm going to see if I can unmute you.
I got it.
Okay.
Thank
good.
you. I didn't realize I put my hand up, but I just wanted to thank everybody for all your service and all the work that you all do to keep us together. Just reiterating what someone else has said. And thank you. Just thank you. And I'm just glad to see all these great faces on here. And I look forward to seeing people in person sometime soon. Thanks.
Okay, Gwen. Wait a minute. Let me unmute you. I can't get it. There, now you got it.
Okay, I just wanted to follow up with, as an example, the activity tonight. As I look over my screen, a number of you have been to this 6 o'clock meeting. It's a meditation and prayer time. It is one of the nicest things that we can do right now because it's quiet and our music is by the birds and the trees around us. It is quiet, it is pleasant, and it is really nice seeing people face to face. Even Bill. You can smile, Bill. And I guess what I'm saying, I've talked to a lot of people in the last week, sharing with them how much I have enjoyed that. And I haven't gotten much reaction. And so what I'm thinking is we have got a really energetic committee called the Possibility Team, and we're coming up with all kinds of things. But it gets down to maybe we have to do some things we really don't want to do to support it, and the message gets out. So that's what I want to encourage you to do. Right off, bat, maybe you don't want to come out on Sunday evening, but I just assure you, unless we have a downpour, it is such a nice thing. I'm really glad we're doing it. And we have people from both churches that are getting to know each other. And if you don't want to come for the spiritual part, come because Melvin brings huge boxes of vegetables. So I'm trying to give you some incentive to come, but that's just one thing. I don't know, there are 3 or 4 of us that are on this possibilities team, and it's really kind of exciting to hear the things that we think you all would enjoy and would bring us together. So when it's announced, whatever, even though you may be like me, I'd rather stay home, but I come, and then I'm really glad that I do because I run into you all, and you're cool people. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Gwen.
Dottie, again.
Okay, Dottie.
I just wanted to just express my appreciation to Valerie for just holding us together, for just being here. And I know Valerie has pushed herself immensely and has always been standing up and being in the right place. I have so much appreciation, and just if everybody can just unmute and clap, give her a clap. Let's see what that would sound like.
Thank you. Thank you all. Love you all.
I also wanted to say my appreciation for all of those who have served on the youth and family team. We had Zelda coming in and spreading love and energy in our space for this last year or so. Chelsea, who's just been here for pushing and helping the teens and the other younger people to have.
We lost her.
Bethany and Sherry. So great. Kids. And then there's been more volunteers. Kimberly has volunteered a lot and has helped with the teens, gone on trips with them. And also Robin Gooden serving and giving us her energy on a weekly basis to help us with things in the back. And Pinky Jackson for helping with the move that we were going to make.
That we still will make.
That energy of Pinky coming in and helping for us to pack and clear out and declutter. We spent the whole last year doing that. It was a lot of work. And I feel better that our Unity space is less cluttered and less crowded, and we'll be ready when the time comes to move. I just want to thank all of those people and every other volunteer who has helped, especially donations you all have made to the youth department, buying our flowers and doing everything over the years. Just thank you so much.
Thank you, Dottie. And thanks, Val. Any other comments or questions before we move on to announcements and wrapping it up? Anything else?
I don't see anybody.
All right. So the new board members will be announced by July 20th. The primary member of the nominating committee for the upcoming year is Alan Schur, and our alternate member is Melvin Jensen. The community meetings for this upcoming year will be scheduled at our next board meeting and announced in the bulletin. Excuse me. The community meetings start at 12:15 and last no longer than 2 hours. And also the bylaw changes will be announced by July 20th as well. So in addition to all the thank yous and recognition that have gone on, I have a couple as well. For the current staff who's keeping it all together, thank you so much. For all the volunteers we have who make this all happen in any capacity. To the current board members, you have been astounding and amazing to work with. Any previous board members, I want to recognize Jim Wheeler, who was on the board for part of this year. Leah Zellers served as an alternate. I just can't thank them enough. To the two outgoing, unless they're reelected, William, for their efforts on the board, their thoughtfulness, depth, the study perspective that they bring has been a huge asset this year. And to Chuck, our fearless leader, without whose leadership, I don't know how any of us would have made it this last year. We've been through so much transition, and he has gone above and beyond what any board president is asked for. So, Gwen and Phil, thank you for your leadership. And Valerie, knowing you're at the helm of this ship, keeps it all, like, it keeps me coming back, because I know we're all going to be okay. And I have been, I'm going to get teary, amazed and awed by the grace that you keep showing up with, no matter what gets thrown at us. And just this last year has been challenging, and the way you keep showing up in unity principles and in love all day, every day, and in every encounter. So thank you so much. And to our congregation that makes this all possible, thank you. To say we've had a lot of transition over the last year, 18 months, would be the understatement of the year. But here we are. It doesn't look like we thought it would look like a year ago, but it is. And I can't thank you for the faith and the grace and the support and the love that you all just keep showing up with all the time. So thank you very much. I'm going to pass it over quickly to Chuck to have his comments, and then we'll adjourn. So Chuck.
Well, it's been a hell of a ride, hasn't it? And one of the things that I've enjoyed is getting to better know everyone on the board and a lot of people in the congregation. And I think we're blessed by all the folks that Jackie just mentioned, and by Jackie herself, who won't take as much credit as she deserves for keeping us online and focused this last year. So I just look forward to having wonderful things and working together to continue to create the spiritual community that we all want, with each of us playing our part as we continue, as we always have done, to transform ourselves and the world through love. Namaste, y'all.
Namaste.
Thank you. And our quick reminder from Sabrina, don't forget to fill out your ballots. If you need one, the links were in the chat box, but if you need one, just email anybody on the board and we can get you a link to the ballot. So with that, if there's nothing further, Reverend Val, will you please pray us out and dismiss our meeting?
Yes.
Thank you.
So we just join together and continue in that heart space of love and light, seeing unity of Louisville, continuing to manifest and grow in all that we do. Not only in our lives, but in our community at Unity and their larger community in the city and in the world. We give thanks for all that we have and all that we receive and all that we give. And we continue to live the truths of oneness. And with prayer and meditation, we know that all things are possible. And so it is. Amen.